Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
All right, good evening and welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring entrepreneurs and women-owned businesses from across the country. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore, President and CEO of the Women's Small Business Initiative, LLC, and award-winning author. Tonight's show is partnered with ADP, the go-to place to better build and manage your business. And of course, welcome to another night of sharing. With us, we have a special guest, Peter Schroeder. Peter Schroeder is a multi-award-winning DJ and entrepreneur who founded Telsio, a pre-unicorn unified communications company. With over 2 decades of experience, Peter has collaborated with companies like Facebook, Samsung, and Airbnb, transforming the way people work and communicate. Peter's remarkable career also includes earning over 20 platinum records, 40 gold records, and a triple nomination for the Danish DJ Awards. Despite facing challenges such as surviving a plane crash and becoming a father of twins, Peter continues to inspire others with his passion and unwavering drive. So without further ado, please help me welcome to my platform, Peter Schroeder. Hey, Peter, how are you?
Doing good. Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm excited about this.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I'm excited to learn more about you because you have a very interesting background. But before we dive into the background, why don't you tell my listeners a little bit more about who Peter Schroeder really is?
Oh, that's a deep one, right? Who am I? Well, I'm from Denmark originally. I grew up in northern Denmark. Son of a single mother, in the middle of nowhere. Kind of grew up as an underdog. I had to fight kind of for everything. My life. So that's kind of been very much what's kind of surrounded me. My whole life is really this urge to, I guess, prove myself or just make it. And then, through my career, I've been doing a lot of different things in both in tech and in music. And eventually, I ended up in Los Angeles after I met my now wife while I was on a DJ gig in Las Vegas back in 2012, I think. And we started the company together, Telsio, and been kind of grinding since, just growing it on a bootstrapped budget to begin with and seeing it kind of blossom over the years.
Wow. And I can still hear your accent, even though you've been here for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it. All right. So you're from Denmark originally. So tell the journey of how you decided to come to America, come to the U.S., obviously. And, what made you think that was the best move to do for yourself? I know you said you were raised by a single mother and that, you felt like you've always had to prove some things in your life. Talk about that journey a little bit.
Yeah, so I've never been the best at anything. I've never been, have this natural talent for anything, but I've always had this drive to kind of become the best at whatever I endeavor into. I'm very much driven by excitement of whatever I work on or whatever project I throw myself into, and then I always go full on with it. So whether that being a website I created when I was 14 and sold when I was 18, it was my first real company. Wow. Or running a record label or things like that, or having a band that we were touring all over the world. It's always been this thing about if I do something, I do it 100%, and I want to try and see if I can make it as far as possible. And in terms of moving to the US, that was really just because I had in the years before that happened, I had kind of just kept ramping up my whole music career. I was DJing all over the world and playing. I played 380 gigs, 380 something gigs in a year. Wow. And I had kind of burned out. I was at the point where I was like, I need to take a break. I need to make new music to stay relevant. I need to take a break and do that. And at that time, I had just met Diana, who's my wife, and she had come to Denmark. We were hanging out, and really while I was taking this this little break from music, I started working on this other project, which really was also about music. It was this little tech service or online service for musicians and DJs and radio stations to kind of promote music between each other and distribute promotion music. And for that, I kind of needed a phone service for support calls, and I needed a menu that sounded professional and all that. I couldn't find anything out of the box. So typically of me, I built it myself, or I started working on it myself, and doing that, I found out that this is actually more fun. So I kept just developing this phone service that I had built, and eventually when Diana went back to the U.S., her tourist visa ended after 3 months or so. I decided, well, maybe I should come over and stay with her over here and see how that relationship pans out. And so I kind of put everything into storage and moved up on my dad's couch and waited for my visa to come through, and that was a 3 month journey. Like I was really I didn't know how long it was going to take, but it ended up taking 3 months. But being on my couch, my dad's couch for 3 months meant that I had time to code on what's now Telcio. And when my visa finally came in May of 2013, I had a minimal viable product. I had like a proof of concept thing that I kind of brought with me and came to the U.S. And then when I came over here, Diana was like, well, let's try and put it out on the internet and see if someone wants to sign up and use it. And people started signing up. So that's, I kind of just ended up not doing music anymore and doing this and stayed around over here.
Wow. Well, I'm sitting here and I'm listening to you talk. I keep thinking, you're so quiet. I'm thinking, where did the DJ part come from? Like, you have this kind of an introvert quietness about you, and when you talk, and I'm like, okay, I got to hear the story. How did you get into DJing? Because when I hear the story about your new company with the communications piece, that seems to fit in my mind when I listen to you talk, because you're so mellow, you're very level-headed. So I want to hear about the DJ career, because what you have done is pretty astounding. It's not like it's some big, it's like, oh, I just did this for a while. It's no big deal. You literally have, we're talking 20 platinum records, 40 gold records, and triple nominations. So I need to hear about the story of you being a DJ.
Well, so that started really, really early on. I mean, I grew up in a with my mom being a pianist, and my dad was a drummer out on gigs every weekend, and so I'm definitely from a family with music. So that was always in my blood. And then when I saw a DJ for the first time at a school dance in probably 3rd or 4th grade or something like that, I just knew that was what I wanted to do. There was just no doubt. And I started, playing at my friends' birthday parties with 2 cassette players, and it wasn't ever any aspiration of being on stage and being seen or being acknowledged for anything. It was more just about seeing how you can make other people dance and have a good time just by playing good songs for them. That was really what it is, and that's what's been driving me my whole career from there on. I eventually, when I was 17, 18, started getting club gigs, and I had formed a band with a few other guys in my early 20s that we went out on tour with, and it was never for me about being seen or being on stage. It's more just about that feeling that it gives me when I see people having a great time because I play some good music for them. And it's the same thing why I like cooking and inviting friends over for dinner. Same exact thing.
Yeah, as we all know, music brings people together, and you said it, absolutely correct. It's not always about being seen, but just watching the joy, the freedom that people feel when they're dancing, or just listening to music. That it does something to us all, right? It's no different than when you talk about being socialized, and then when we had missed a lot of that during COVID, we didn't have that opportunity to be around people. So having something like that to fall back on, whether you're doing it professionally or not, I think it's still something that obviously continues to bring you together with other people, as well as, people wanting to be a part of your life because you know how to open them up in a way that not everybody knows how to do sometimes without feeling like they have to be pushed into it. So I honestly believe music is the best medicine for anybody, definitely that. 100%. So you talk a little bit about your business, and I want to know more about your communication business. It sounds interesting, and a lot of people don't understand what a unicorn business means. Could you kind of break that down a little bit for people what a unicorn unified communications company is?
Yeah, I mean, so I think it says pre-unicorn. It's written by our PR department.
Okay.
It really, yeah. I mean, it means a unicorn company is really considered a company that's worth $1 billion. We're not quite there yet, but we are working on it. So that's probably why they put that in there. But it's really like our company is a business phone service. We are a phone service provider. A bit more than that. Our service spans a little bit more than that. But if you really boil it down, we provide phone service for businesses and texting and all these kind of things. And then we've kind of built a product that's a little bit easier than our competitors to use, a little bit more budget friendly, and in many ways just a nicer version of the big telcos out there.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's interesting. Very interesting. So can you name the name of so your company is just what it is Telzio. So that's the name of the actual company that people provide and get their service from?
Yeah. So Telzio.com is where you sign up and do everything online from the website. So if you have a business and you need, phone service and you need a menu or a queue when people call in, or you need to be able to send and receive text messages, and you want to do it from a desk phone, but maybe also just from your cell phone. We have a mobile app you just install, so you can see which calls come in are from your business and which are your personal calls. And
oh, wow.
And then it's free per user, so you can have all your employees be on it as well. That's kind of the unique thing is for us is we don't charge you per user. We just charge you for the actual calls that you make and receive.
Wow, that is unique. Yeah, I've never actually heard of the company, and so I thought it was very interesting to try to learn more about, what you do and who you were and what you were providing as a communication service. So, it sounds like you said, everything you do and you touch it obviously turns to gold, but you seem to have a knack for that. As anything that you touch, that knack just seems to be there, even if you have to work a little harder than the next person. Where do you think you feel that actually comes from deep inside of you, or from other people that maybe have instilled that into you as you've learned throughout your journey?
Well, I don't think necessarily everything I touch turns to gold. I think I'm just extremely stubborn. And if someone tells me that I can't do something, then I will definitely make sure I can. I will work my butt off for years until I can prove them wrong. But that's very much me. I'm not necessarily, like I said in the beginning, I'm not that kind of person that just has everything and just everything you touch will just turn to gold. Definitely not. I do see myself as an underdog, but I also see myself as that one that will then work until it pays off.
Right.
So yeah, I'm extremely stubborn. You definitely asked my wife about that.
That doesn't sound like you, Peter, not at all. But that stubbornness is what makes you who you are, that passion inside of you. And we all have it, but it's, some people just don't find it. Some people never dig deep enough to deal with it, because it can be hard. I mean, that's a part of understanding about being in business and your personal life, the whole 9 yards. It can come full circle. But I think a lot of times when we're talking, we're telling our stories, people truly only understand. They only see the outside the shell. They don't really understand what it takes to get there. And so I love having these type of conversations when people can truly, show the truth of what it takes to get to this point, and that yes, you're still fighting, that you still have that passion. It doesn't come overnight. And we all understand that when you do start a business, you all realize that, we stop having that passion, there's no more business. So.
Yeah, totally. And you know what, like it's interesting because everyone, like you say, see the outside. When we started our business, I mean, that was bootstrapped. We literally, I had no money, and my wife cashed in her 401k for us to even get started.
Wow.
And for the many first years we didn't make any money because we took the long road, and you got to be definitely stubborn, but also a little bit naive if you think you can, on a bootstrap, a 401k, start a company that can compete against AT&T and T-Mobile and those kind of companies, right? But that naivety is definitely also what brought us to the point where we can compete against them today, and we actually have a product that's better and more viable. But there's no doubt that took a long time to get there, and I had to work contracting jobs on the side for the first few years until we could pay ourselves a salary and even hire our first employee. That's the thing that people don't see, and we can say the same thing, because we thought for the first a long time that we had to go raise VC money because that's what you do in Silicon Valley and to have a tech company, and turned out that even though that we tried to do it and we got rejected, because people don't hear about the stories when people get rejected. That's the thing. Like, you only hear about all the ones that, or the few that go out and raise $100 million on an idea, not even have a product. You don't even know about how many people have a viable product but don't raise any money, and that's because you're not necessarily just in it for that, and that's not the type of person you are. But that doesn't mean that your business can't succeed. It will just take a little longer. And today, I'm super happy that we didn't raise that kind of money, because we wouldn't have, we wouldn't own most of the companies as we do today, and we would have had, investors breathing down our neck and basically dictating what to do. And today we are so lucky that we can build a product that's just awesome for our customers and the way we want to build it.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. You lose that control when you start to have too many partners and too much money flowing in from other people. Yeah, no longer it's yours in the beginning because you designed it, but then it's like, oh no, we need you to do this or we need to do that. Yeah. It takes away that dream. It takes away that passion, that fight that you had in the beginning to make it work when somebody was telling you, no, you can't do this. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out, because I'm like, oh, this sounds really interesting. When you can be that competitive with, like you said, AT&T or Verizon or those other communication companies, it's definitely worth looking into. So I'm excited to, when I get done talking to you, I'm going to be doing. So the other thing I definitely want to dive into is that, we talked about the fact that you've had some challenges. Talk about the plane crash, if you don't mind.
Well, so it's funny because it kind of bubbled up recently, not more than a few years ago, again, and I had totally forgotten about it. I should probably talk to some professional about that, but I was in a commuter turboprop crash in 2010. Where they couldn't lock the landing gear in, and it ended up tilting to the side when we landed, and no one got hurt. I think one lady broke her arm or something like that, but no one got seriously hurt. And I'm not afraid of flying today at all. I think the pilots and the cabin crew on that plane was super professional. But I had totally forgotten about it. It was just not a big deal because it ended up well, and they were so calm. So it wasn't really something that we had to. Well, at least me had to really go around and think a lot about. And then it kind of just came up recently where we talked about it. Like, oh yeah, wait a minute, I was on that plane.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, see, that shows that stubborn side of you right now. So it's like, yeah, I'm pushing that to the back. That's really no big deal. I'm here, so no big deal.
Put that in that box over there.
Right. Another day in the neighborhood. Just, we had a plane crash. Yeah, I survived. No big deal. But
all of that. Yeah.
But it's something that obviously we don't want to, you don't want to be the victim forever, right? I mean, it's definitely thankful that you're here and that you can talk about it and you can laugh about it. But, it's like I said, sometimes it's those challenges, it's those things that drive you to continue to move forward. And even in that situation when it could have definitely turned out to be a complete different scenario for you, you've been able to, walk away from it with your head up still and like, it happened, but I'm okay. I can move on. And that's life. A lot of us have been through some very tragic things, and tragedy doesn't always have to become a negative, but there's still those stories that you can communicate with other people about and talk about how resilient that you can be. But if you hold on to something and so long, you can actually make it more tragic than what it really is, right? So
definitely,
you having that capability. Go ahead.
I would say that yeah, I've definitely been through things like that, and you know, I like I said earlier, I go in to everything I do full on. There's no midway for me at all. So you know, I've been evicted from 2 apartments back in my day when I was doing music, and I just couldn't pay rent anymore because I was full on with whatever project I was doing. And you know, that has definitely made me stronger on the other side, you know, coming out of it on the other end, and taught me some lessons for sure. And you know, my mother passed away in 2011, and that was kind of hard on me, but on the other hand, that was also kind of what drove me to start playing more and more gigs outside of the country, because I kind of was in a state of, well, now I can just go do whatever, or I don't know. It was, you know, I was in kind of a limbo state, if you will, but that ended up leading me to a gig where I met my wife today, and if I hadn't gone to that and I hadn't met her, I wouldn't have had my twin babies today either. You know, so there's so many things that you know, one thing leads to the other, and even though things are bad in any given moment, then it's gonna get better. And like, I always think about what my mom said to me every time I was feeling down as a child or sad, and she's just like, go to bed and sleep, and it's going to be a new day tomorrow, and you're going to feel better. And that has just, you know, stuck with me my whole life. If I'm feeling a little down, then you know what, I'll just call it a day and go home and chill and go to bed early, and tomorrow's going to be a new day, and it's going to be better.
Excuse me. Yeah, I mean, excuse me, I'm sitting up there choking and coughing at the same time while you're trying to talk, but you know how things go when you're trying to talk and everything goes on the wrong pipe there. But
oh yeah,
you're excuse me, you're right. You know, it's certain things that, like I said, things happen in life, and you know, we all have trials. And I'm sorry to hear about the loss of your mother, of course. But you try to turn sometimes those things into more positiveness and realize that you are here and that you have tomorrow, and that's the key. Is that you have tomorrow to get up and move forward in the things that you want to do in life. And I know that, you know, she's proud of you, and everybody else is definitely very proud of what you're doing. You know, you've adjusted very well with all the things that you have gone through. Excuse me, whether it's, you know, been negative or positive. But I think the biggest thing for you is your stubbornness is what really keeps you moving. And it is. And you know, the conversation we're having is like, I can think of you as being a quiet stubbornness. You know, I don't see you, you know, going off and beating anybody upside the head, but at the same time, you know, it's inside of you to want to do better, to want to continue to grow and to continue to do some remarkable things in your life. And you're definitely doing that. And I'm sure your kids, your twins are extremely proud and looking like, wow, you know, this is my dad, you know, this is what he does. This is my family, and this is our parents. I don't know how old your kids are, but I'm sure that, you know, they're learning a lot from you, and you're, you know, with the things that you've accomplished and what you're doing. So let me ask you a question though. If you had the opportunity, would you ever go back to doing DJing again?
Probably not in the same level, at the same level as I did before. But I do miss playing. I don't miss the whole traveling and having to make a living off of it and depend on it. But I do miss you know, the moment when you're actually playing the records and people are dancing and, you know, having a good time. That I do miss. So I don't know. Maybe if it would be on a different level where it could just be, you know, for the fun of it.
Well, we just need you to get on social media and get back out there and do it again. So, I mean, you don't have to leave and go anywhere now.
Right, that's true.
Get on there and just like, you know what? I need to have a few minutes of fun. So, you know, I just need to hear and see all this. I'm going to have to look you up and find what you did in the past. Because, like I said, when I listen to you talk, I keep thinking, wow, you know, this person was really a DJ, because you just sound so quiet. And I'm thinking, you know, it's just kind of cool, you know, to meet people who have those different dynamics and different parts of who they are as a person. And then, you know, you're able to take everything that you've done and just make it into something, like I say, even more viable. And I think that's the cool part about having these conversations and meeting people like you. So if you had one thing to advise anybody on when it comes to wanting to start a business, what would you tell them?
Be naive. allow yourself to be a little naive. Be realistic about what you're doing, but also be a little naive and believe in what you're doing can actually succeed, even though people tell you it can't. Be realistic about it. I mean, my favorite quote is by Pippi Longstocking, and she says something in the lines of, "I've never done that before, so of course I can." And you know, it just resonates with me because who's to tell you that you can't do something unless you have actually tried?
Exactly. And there's so many people. I think I was having this conversation the other day with somebody about the fact that we realizing there's more information about how many people who leave this earth, and we have more millionaires and billionaires and more people who have ideas that leave this earth, and we never know what those ideas are because of fear. You know, because somebody, or it's either somebody telling them what they can and cannot do. Yeah, you know, so yeah, it's always important, you know, to allow yourself to be free of that, you know, to allow yourself to move forward. Even it's not even about failing; it's about getting up and trying, learning from those lessons, realizing that
try it. You know, who cares if you fail?
Right. Yeah. And it's really not failure, because you know what? At least you tried, because there's so many people telling you what you can do, but they've never tried that. They've never gone out and have done the things that you're doing. So even if you don't become the big success that you think you should be, at the end of the day, you've done something unique. You've done something that we're passionate about. And I think that, you know, it's great that we're seeing more and more people are very passionate about what they do, but I think it's about longevity, you know, and the quality of it versus the quantity. And I think that's a lot of the things that we're seeing more and more today, where there's so many people who want to be that overnight success, but don't understand that how are you touching and reaching people? Is it going to be for a lifetime, or is it going to be just for today? You know, so those are some of the things when it comes to being in business and understanding what it is that you really truly want.
Spot on. I couldn't say it better myself. It's so spot on. Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But, you know, before we actually, like I said, it's been really such a pleasure talking to you. And it's just been exciting to get to know more about you, who you are in your business. And like I said, I cannot wait to get on and do a little more research and learn more about your communications company. But for those who want to learn more and need to reach out, could you please provide that information?
Yeah, so for Telsio, it's just telsio.com, TELZ as in zebra, IO.com. And there's a free trial in there, and I would just urge you to try that out, because for once it's free and it's just fun to play around with, and that's kind of where you'll see how it can really do. And if you want to get in touch with me, just petersroder.com. There's not much on that website. There's some links to all my social media and my email address. So if you want to reach out, go to petersroder.com and pick your favorite social media, I would say, and reach out. Happy to talk.
All right. Well, and of course, we'll have all the information in the show notes. So for those who think that they, you know, trying to remember what you just said, we will definitely have all of Peter's information and about the company and where you can find them and the whole 9 yards, so that, you know, people don't feel like they have to be lost. But like I said, again, I definitely have really appreciated your time and you coming on and spending your evening with me, and definitely looking forward to hopefully reaching out later on and seeing how you're doing again, and, you know, maybe in a year or so, and just seeing if there's anything good that you want to share.
Thank you so much for having me on here. That was really, really fun. Thank you.
It is my pleasure. And again, I hope you have a good evening. And thank you again, like I said, for coming on. And for everybody else, I hope that you have truly enjoyed this evening's conversation and what it takes to be unwavering with your passion. I think that's the thing that we all have learned tonight. And if you haven't learned that, you know, we can teach you, we can help you get there about what it means to get to, you know, to use your passion and realize that we all have it. And, you know, if you didn't hear this story and you want to hear it again, please go back and re-listen to what we talked about, because there's so many, as I always call it, pink nuggets versus golden nuggets. Now, for Peter, it's probably the golden side, because he might not want to refer to me as pink. But at the end of the day, everything that we talk about on the show is really, truly about sharing the resources, teaching you what it takes in order to live the dream that you want to live. And if you, like I said, are having a problem trying to figure out what that passion is and how to get there, you can reach out to me at Kimberly at WSBILC@gmail.com, and let's chat about your dreams and turn them into goals. If you want more of your resource for success, monetary donations to support the podcast are now accepted on Cash App, PayPal, PayPal, Good Pods Tip Jar, or go to the website at www.wsbilc.com. And of course, if you want to learn more on how to better leverage your business, ADP has identified 5 primary challenges that women face constantly, and it's hiring, financing, access to growth resources, employee experience, and access to payroll and HR tools. Educating yourself on what's best for your business is free. And I'm telling you, ADP can do that for you. Don't sit there and try to figure it all on your own when the education is out there. Leverage it while you can. Learn it, understand it, help figure out how to grow your business in a way that you never thought you could. Contact our ADP rep, Antonia Nuez Samanigo. I will provide all her information in the show notes so that you will have her contact phone number as well as her email address. And also keep a lookout for WSBI and ADP. We're having a new lunch and learn series that will be coming out in the fall. So keep your eyes and your ears open on that one as well. But until then, again, I hope you liked our show tonight, and we'd like to thank you all for listening to us. We'll be back next week with more amazing guests. Be sure to follow us on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcast. But until then, enjoy the evening and good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.